Sara sat on the bus, watching the raindrops race down the window. It was early in the morning, and the city still felt sleepy. The sky outside was covered in gray clouds, and the roads were wet and shiny from the soft rain. She held her bag tightly on her lap. Inside it were her notes, her presentation slides, and something more important than all of that, her hope. She was on her way to give a presentation in English, her very first real presentation in a language that had once made her feel small, afraid, and invisible. Her stomach felt tight. Her hands were cold, not because of the weather, but because she was nervous. Her eyes closed for a moment, and she took a deep breath. She began to remember how far she had come. A few months ago, she could barely say a full sentence in English without stopping, thinking, or making mistakes. And now, here she was, on a rainy morning, dressed in her neatest clothes, on her way to speak in front of her classmates and professors. It felt like a dream, and in many ways, it was. Sara hadn't always dreamed in English. In fact, there was a time when she barely dreamed at all. Her life was simple. She lived in a small town with her parents and younger brother. Their house wasn't big, but it was filled with warmth. Her mother always cooked delicious food. Her father came home tired but smiling. Her brother ran around the house full of energy and questions. Sara was different, quiet, thoughtful, often lost in her own world. She didn't talk much, not even in her native language. She preferred books to conversations, notebooks to noise. But she always listened to people, to the world, and especially to the quiet voice inside her that said, "There is more. Somewhere, there is more." At night, when the house was still and the only sound was the wind outside or the ticking of the clock in the hallway, Sara would open her notebook and write. She didn't write in perfect grammar. Sometimes she mixed English and her own language, but she wrote about her dreams. She dreamed of traveling, of standing in a room full of people and sharing ideas, of being free and confident and unafraid. But every dream came with fear. She often thought, what if I can't speak well enough? What if people laugh at my accent? What if they don't understand me? Those questions were heavy. They kept her small. So she stayed in her comfort zone, where it was safe and quiet. Then one day at school, her teacher made an announcement that would change everything. "There is a special opportunity," the teacher said, standing in front of the class. "A scholarship for one student. The chosen student will study at the city university for 1 year, free of cost. You must write an essay and give a short speech in English." The room filled with excited whispers. Everyone began talking about it. It was a big chance, especially for someone from a small town. Her heart jumped. She didn't know if she should be excited or scared. All day, she thought about it. Could she really do it? Could she compete with the other students? That night, as the wind whispered through the trees outside her window, she sat with her notebook and pen. She didn't think too hard. She just started writing. She wrote from her heart, not from her dictionary. "Dear committee," she began, "my name is Sara. I am not the best student. I am not the loudest voice, but I am the one who wants this the most." She told them about her love for learning, about how she stayed up late trying to understand English grammar, how she watched YouTube videos about pronunciation, how she practiced speaking in front of the mirror, even though she hated her voice. She didn't know if it would be good enough, but she sent the essay anyway. 2 weeks passed. Then, one afternoon, her phone rang. She almost didn't answer it, but something told her to pick up. "Hello?" she said. "Hello, is this Sara?" The voice on the other end asked. "Yes, this is Sara." "Congratulations," the voice said warmly. "You've been selected for the scholarship." She didn't speak for a moment. Her mouth was open, but no words came out. Then suddenly she laughed, and then she cried. Her little brother ran into the room and asked, "What happened?" She couldn't stop smiling. Her parents came in, and she told them everything. Her father hugged her, her mother held her face and said, "We always knew you could do it." That night, she didn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her heart full of excitement and fear. She was leaving home. She was going to the city. She was going to speak in English. The next week was a blur of packing and preparation. Her mother made lists. Her father checked her travel documents. Her brother put a lucky tea chain in her bag. And then she left. The city was louder than she imagined, bigger, faster. There were tall buildings, traffic sounds, flashing lights, and so many people everywhere. She felt small again. She moved into a student dorm. Her roommate, Mia, was from another country. Mia had curly hair, a big laugh, and fast English. She talked about movies, music, and memes Sara didn't understand. She smiled, nodded, and stayed quiet. In class, it was even harder. Professors spoke fast. Some students made jokes Sara didn't get. She sat at the back, took notes, and didn't ask questions. She was afraid of saying something wrong, afraid of people laughing, afraid of being seen. But every night, she studied. She watched videos of other students speaking. She repeated phrases out loud. She whispered sentences while brushing her teeth. She listened to podcasts while walking to class. She read her textbooks slowly, underlining every word she didn't know. It wasn't easy. There were days she wanted to quit, days she cried, days she looked out of her dorm window and missed her family, her bed, her town. But she kept going. And then one day, her professor announced a group project. You will create a presentation on climate change in teams of 3 in English. Sara's heart dropped. A presentation? Speaking in front of people? She thought about asking to skip it. She thought about pretending to be sick. But before she could decide, 2 classmates walked up to her. "Hey, want to join our group?" one of them asked. She nodded before she could think, and suddenly, she was in. The next 2 weeks were full of planning, research, and late-night video calls. At first, Sara just listened, but her teammates encouraged her. "Why don't you explain this graph?" they'd say. "You have a nice voice." She laughed awkwardly. "No, my English is bad." But they smiled. "It's good enough. Just try." So she did. She practiced every night. She wrote out every sentence. She recorded her voice and listened back, even though she hated how she sounded. She stood in front of the mirror, saying the lines over and over. And slowly, something started to change. Her fear didn't disappear, but it got quieter. And finally, presentation day arrived. She wore her cleanest shirt. She brushed her hair twice. She arrived early. Her hands were shaking as she waited. Then, it was time. She walked to the front of the room with her team. She looked at the audience, rows of students, a few professors, and Mia sitting near the back, giving her a thumbs up. She took a deep breath, and then she began. "Good morning, everyone. My name is Sara. Today, we will talk about the effects of climate change on our planet." Her voice was not loud, her accent was not perfect, but she spoke. She explained the charts, she answered questions, she even made one small joke, and people laughed. When it was over, the room was quiet for a moment. Then came the clapping. Sara smiled, a real smile, the kind that comes from pride, not just politeness. That day changed her. From then on, she spoke more. In class, at the dorm, even at the grocery store. She made mistakes, she forgot words, but she didn't stop. She joined the university speaking club. She helped new students who were just as afraid as she once was. She became a mentor, a leader, and slowly, without even realizing it, a confident speaker. Months passed, and one evening, as the sun was setting and the city was glowing in soft orange light, Sara sat by the window with her notebook. She opened to a new page and began to write. But this time, it wasn't a dream. It was a letter. Dear English learner, I know you're scared. I was too. I know you feel small. I did too. But I promise you this. If you keep going, you will grow. If you keep speaking, you will be heard. And if you believe in yourself, even a little, you will go farther than you ever imagined. She looked up from the page and smiled, because now her dreams weren't just written in a notebook. They were real, and they had only just begun.